Well, there's a lot of different things they violated, but one of those was the fact that they made factual findings that were just flat out incorrect.
Bar rules say that you're supposed to be allowed to continue your law practice pending the outcome of your appeal.
That's correct.
And you weren't allowed that,
I
were
was
you?
not allowed to do that because I was found to be a danger to the community.
You look real dangerous to me, Lisa.
I'm not. I didn't take money from clients. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't physically harm anyone. I never committed any type of extortion. I never stole from a client. There were none of those allegations. In fact, the only allegation was that I had committed perjury that ended up being reversed by the Arizona Supreme Court.
So I think what their case against you consisted of was ethical violations. Is that correct? That's what they were claiming?
Yes, that's correct.
Are you guilty of any of those ethical violations?
No, I am not.
Tell me a little bit about how you like to practice when you were a lawyer. What are your own personal morals and ethics when you were practicing and when you were prosecuting criminal cases?
Well, I was seen as a very tough prosecutor, and that was in cases where I believed the person was guilty. But in cases where I did not think they were guilty, or there was a concern, I would dismiss those cases. Or if there was an issue, a legitimate concern about, say, a seizure or something, or a legal search, then we would work with the defense attorney to get a fair resolution. But I was very strong in those cases that I believed the person was guilty.
But you didn't just believe in prosecuting anybody willy-nilly because they'd been arrested.
Absolutely not. We turned down cases all the time. In fact, the statistics show that we turned down a very large number of cases. Or we sent a lot of cases to the city to be prosecuted as misdemeanors because it wasn't appropriate to prosecute people as felons.
Well, because once somebody's convicted of a felony, it affects their life forever, especially their employment prospects.
Absolutely. It's something that prosecutor and I especially took very seriously on a day-to-day basis.
Well, it seems to me that your philosophy was more or less better 10 guilty men go free than one innocent person be prosecuted.
I would have to agree with that. I think that's important. Yes.
That's an old canon from Blackstone's law, isn't it?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, to add insult to injury, Lisa, not only have you had your bar license revoked, but now they're trying to charge you for the costs of prosecuting you. And they refuse to give you enough money to hire a lawyer to represent you during the bar tribunal. Is that correct?
The county attorney has always paid for representation of his or her deputies and for all the costs, anything that's assessed against them. That has happened since day one. In fact, I have a civil case pending that's now up on appeal because the judge threw out our case, again without any basis, because they failed to pay for my attorney. They paid for everybody else's attorneys. They refused to pay for mine.
Well, why did they stick it to you and pay for everybody else's attorneys? I don't understand that. Did they really just hate your guts or what?
Well, absolutely they did, especially the assistant to Bill Montgomery. He had a personal dislike for me, and now he's the chief deputy because Andrew Thomas wouldn't listen to him as much as he thought he should be listened to. So when he took over for Bill Montgomery, he made sure that I did not get my representation. My attorney was fired at one point, and then they refused to let me hire anyone else. They tried to allow me to have someone in Tucson who was a great attorney, but they told them, oh, we're only going to pay you a certain amount, and if you go over, so sad, too bad. He didn't want to agree to that.
How could they refuse to allow you to hire another attorney? Isn't that some sort of serious ethical violation?
It should be an ethical violation, but apparently, according to the bar, it's what they decide on a day-to-day, person-to-person basis they want to go after.